What's up, beautiful people? I welcome you to the second round of my LGS's monthly Pauper Tournament. It's the February tournament and I'm up against Temur cleansing Wildfire. I myself still playing Izzet Faeries, so we're rolling the dice to decide who's going first. Week 4 for me and a strong 8 for my opponent, so I guess he'll start this game. Alright, my opponent takes a mulligan right here. I'm still pondering on my opening hand, but I think I will keep my starting 7. Cut the deck right here, and my opponent draws his London mulligan. Alright, opponent decides to keep his hand, puts 1 on the bottom, and will start off this game. So, it's a tapped land for turn. The bridge, the red and green one, indestructible land, artifact land, and passes to me. I'll open the game with a snow-covered island and just pass the turn to my opponent. Opponent draws for turn and plays one of those Modern Horizons 3 fetch lands, which can also tap for a colorless one. My opponent does so to play a Cleansing Wildfire, which is getting answered by a Spell Pierce on my side. Okay. Spell is countered, opponent gives it back to me. Untap, upkeep, draw. Tap 1 blue for an island cycling, Lorien revealed. And play the island I just fetched for turn, passing it back to my opponent. Plays another one of those tapped indestructible artifact lands and attempts a second Wildfire, which I can conveniently answer by a second Spell Pierce. Pretty tough stuff for my opponent. I'm pretty happy about that because another land and draw a card for 2 mana, that's pretty strong. Okay, so I do untap, draw. And island cycle the Lorien revealed once again. It's a volatile fjord this time. Presenting it to my opponent and playing it for turn. Tap 1 blue mana to cast a Fairy Miscreant and passing the turn back to my opponent. Opponent draws. And plays another one of those fetch lands. He's going to fetch for a basic land, puts it into play tapped. He's gonna get himself an island. Alrighty, David gives his deck a good shuffle. And yeah. I'll cut it for him. So 3 mana open. What's he gonna do? Just pass the turn to me. So I'll untap, draw. Tap 1 blue to cast a Fairy Seer and scry 2 here. It resolves. Opponent's going to fetch in the meanwhile while I'm pondering upon my options here. gets himself another island. Double blue counter spell mana. I'll put my cards down real quick to cut his deck, but I'm still not done pondering upon my options. So, yeah, that's a tough one for me. It seems I got an Lorien revealed and an island on top, counting my mana here. But I finally decide to put one on bottom, one on top. Yeah. Tap in one blue to cast a second Fairy Miscreant, so I can draw one card. And I'm playing a snow-covered mountain. Swinging for 1 damage and pass the turn to my opponent. Ooh, Kenku Artificer for 3 mana. Reanimating his land right there, so it's a 3/3 flying indestructible creature, if this one resolves. It resolves. Creature, land gets 3 counters and swings in flying for end of turn. I'm gonna land cycle a Lorien Revealed, get myself a snow-covered island. Okay. Untap, draw a card. And cast a second Fairy Seer to scry the top 2 cards. It looks like a snap and something. Okay, 1 card on top, 1 on bottom. Making sure I got the right one on top. Playing a second or a third Fairy Miscreant after putting a snow-covered island in play. And then I'm gonna snap this creature back to his hand. Right, so I may untap 2 more. And then I'm gonna swing with 3 creatures. Opponent takes 3. And then I'm gonna pass the turn. Okay, opponent untaps, puts his land back into play, tapped. Very convenient for me. So didn't just get rid of his creature, his flying indestructible one, but also made it come back tapped. But there's a second Artificer, enchanting the same land or reanimating the same land, however you want to call it. Or no, animating that land, right? That's the best thing to say. And yeah, it happens. I do untap, draw a card. And swing in with the full Fairy team. That's 5 damage in the air, and then I'll pass the turn. Opponent taps 1 blue to cast a Brainstorm, draw 3 and put back 2 on top of his library. So he's drawing 3 and yeah, checking out his options there. 2 back on top. Another tapped indestructible land right there. And he gets in with the 2 artificers for 2 damage. Oh, decides to tap the land as well, so it's 5 damage in the air. I'm going to scratch one of the artificers. It's 4 damage. And I take it. Okay. Untap my fairy crowd. Draw 1 card. And swing in with the full team. Once again, it's 5 damage. I'll sort the fairies for my opponent. It's 3 fairy miscreants and 2 fairy seers. So my opponent's going to galvanic discharge one of the fairy seers, 2 energy in stock. If it resolves. It does. It does resolve. So it's just 4 damage in the air. Pass the turn to my opponent. He untaps, draws a card, goes to attack phase and swings in with the 1 artificer. I take the 1 damage. Opponent passes, so I untap, draw a card for turn. And decide to go to combat and swing in with the fairy team first. So 3 flying fairies, 4, pardon me here, 3 miscreants, 1 fairy seer. So opponent wants to block one of them and lightning bolt the second one. Alright, this happens. No counter shenanigans from my side. My opponent takes 2 to the face. And I cast another Fairy Seer, which is going to be answered by a counter spell from my opponent. Okay, sad, but I'm gonna bolt his face. 3 damage right there. Opponent's going to take it. Down to 2. And that's it. Passing my turn. Opponent plays a forest for turn. Goes to combat and swings in with the Artificer for 1. I'm taking it. Going down to 11. Opponent passes turn. So it's untap, draw, and yeah, just swing in with those 2. Opponent's going to block one of them, taking that 1 damage, and then it's bolt to the face, which he's going to counterspell. Very unfortunate there. I'm passing the turn. He swings in for 1. I'm taking that 1 damage. And he passes it back to me. I'll pass the turn to him. Okay, he draws. Taps 3 mana, 2 blue and 1 green to cast another Artificer and get a second flying indestructible land out there. Okay, that's tough. That's tough. The tables are turning. Opponent swings in for 4. Wow. He swings in for 7. Okay. I'm taking the 7, going down to 3. And end of turn, I'm flashing in the spell starter sprite. It's the second attacker. In case he can, yeah, just in case of this one. Bit greedy from my opponent to go in there. So with the 2 flyers, I mean. So yeah, loses the game right there. I mean, he was in a good position at that moment. So okay. Next game. Alright, opponent decides to go first. So we both draw our fresh 7. And let's see about whether we can heap those hands. Alright, we both keep the starting 7. Opponent starts with the Silver Bluff Bridge and passes the turn back to me. I'll start with, yeah, Snow-Covered Island and pass the turn to my opponent. Draws. Place another tap the bridge. And attempt a Ponder right there. I have to Spell Pierce that. No top deck manipulation for my opponent here. He passes back to me, so I do untap. Draw a card. And for 1 blue mana, cast a Faeries here. So I'm going to scry 2. One on top, 1 on bottom, and after playing a land, a Volatile Fjord, I'll pass it back to my opponent. Okay, opponent untaps, draws, plays his 3rd land, and attempts to Brainstorm, which of course is going to resolve. I'm not playing no foils in this deck, so yeah, no free counter spells here, right? He draws 3 and has to put back 2 on top of his library. Puts back 2. And passes the turn to me. Okay. Draw a fresh card for turn. And swing in with that fairy. No blocks announced, so I'm gonna ninjutsu the Moon Circuit Hacker. But before damage, my opponent wants to Lightning Bolt, but not the Moon Circuit Hacker, but the Faeries here, which of course is no longer possible since I paid the ninjutsu cost and it's putting the creature back into my hand. So opponent bolts the Moon Circuit Hacker, which is going to deny my card draw. Okay, tap 1 more blue for 1 more Faeries here. More top manipulation is needed at this moment. Okay, I see a Snap and a Lorien Revealed. Putting both on top there. And passing to my opponent. I missed my land drop, so Lorien Revealed is going to stay on top for sure. Opponent plays another bridge. Taps a blue for another Brainstorm. Okay. Draw 3. And put back 2 on top of his library. Okay. So 2 more mana available at this moment. But opponent passes it back to me. Draw for turn. Gonna island cycle DeLorean revealed. Get myself a second island. Quick ponder here. Is it gonna be an island? But yeah. Oh, now we realize that my opponent didn't get any damage beforehand, right? Because neither did the Fairy Connect nor the Ninja. That's of course correct right there. So we change it back to 20. Okay, I'm gonna swing in and bring my opponent legitimately down to... Is it gonna be 18 because I'm trying to ninjutsu the Ninja of the Deep Hours. Once again, we have the conversation about the ninjutsu cost. I'm explaining to my opponent that it's part of the cost to put the creature back into my hand so he no longer can bolt it or galvanic discharge it. So I draw a card, my opponent's down to 18 and I pass the turn here. Opponent plays another bridge, the red and green one. And at this point I decide I'll have to make sure I didn't tell my opponent nothing stupid about the ninjutsu, because I don't want to put him in disadvantage right there, right? But I'm pretty sure about what I said. Right, I made sure with the judge there real quick, and yeah, opponent can only get rid of my ninja after I'm announcing ninjutsu and paying the ninjutsu cost. So everything was done correctly, and opponent's going to tap 2 mana, 3 mana for Tolarian Terror. Okay. Opponent passes the turn to me. I untap, draw a card for turn. Play a snow-covered island. Tap 3 to Pyroblast the snake, paying the ward cost right there. My opponent lets it happen. I'm swinging in with the ninja for 2 damage and a card draw, and sadly so, that's the last image I got of this game, because I think the battery of my GoPro went low. I don't know what happened, but I don't got no footage left from this game. To recap it real quick, I got a couple more swings with the ninja and put into play a couple more fairies, like 2 or 3, and managed to outvalue and outride my opponent. We had, like, I would say 5 more minutes of gameplay. Sad it didn't record, but you will see more in the 3rd round. So stay tuned, see you next time.